What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's football review video. Now, the UEFA Europa League Final kicked off last night at San Mamés in Bilbao. Tottenham and Manchester United have both been terrible this season. This was a match that was hyped up as being the clash of the clowns. That's how bad it's been. Both of these teams are always spoken about as being top 6 teams in England, and then when you look at the Premier League, the one is 16th and the other one is 17th. Both knocked out of all the cup competitions domestically as well, so this was their one and only ticket to get back into European football for next season. At least it is an upgrade from the Europa League and it is a backdoor into the Champions League, but for the loser they get nothing. And that's because both of these teams have put themselves in the situation this season where the Europa League was all or bust for both Tottenham Hotspur and Manchester United. I think though, when you look at why the coaches had to resort to this, it's again a very similar issue. There were injuries on both ends for large periods of the season. Tottenham were missing pretty much all of their defenders at one point. It was terrible. And then Manchester United have had defenders leave for like 2 months, come back, and then pick up an injury again, and then be out for 2 months again. So for United, it's been a revolving door in that back four. But I think Spurs have also had some injuries up front. Richarlison was out a bit, Dominic Solanke, Son Heung-min, all of these players, Brennan Johnson as well at one point. All of the attacking players also had to take some time off. I don't think Manchester United had too many problems going forward. I think the problem though was tactically and technically. I think Ruben Amorim is trying his best with what he has to work with at Manchester United, and it's not much, unfortunately. They're still trying to play this stubborn style of football where they try to counter through the center and just let Rasmus Højlund hold the ball up as a center forward. The problem is, this team has no creativity, they have no ingenuity, and they're kind of lazy actually when it comes to the creative departments. Nobody's willing to take a risk and just maybe take a player on in a 1v1 situation, shift the whole dynamic of the game. But worse, nobody's making the runs off the ball. It's as if they just want to march forward together, nobody doing anything exciting. And it really showed on the pitch. Manchester United losing this match is incredibly embarrassing. But as a neutral, it really hurts to see the depths to which Manchester United have fallen right now, to reach a point where you're losing to teams like Brentford and you're still celebrating because you're in a Europa League final, but then you lose that, and it just puts everything into perspective about how bad they have been all season. I think it was poetic that Brennan Johnson of all players scored the winner. It wasn't by any means a nice goal, it's actually a rubbish goal. It's again down to defensive carelessness at Manchester United. And I think now if Son leaves, Spurs fans don't have to panic too much because they've got a player like Brennan Johnson. Whereas before, if Son wasn't on the pitch, Spurs were going absolutely nowhere. I can't really turn around here and say that this was a well-deserved victory for Spurs, even though I do feel that it's amazing that Son has finally won a trophy. But I do think that both of these teams need to improve massively going into next season. For Ange Postecoglou, I think maybe he's going to think that yes, those injuries are a valid excuse, but now he at least has the faith of the board. He did go out a few times this season and talk about how he doesn't always win things, but he always wins something in his second season, and there you go, there's your second season luck for you, Mr. Postecoglou, and it worked out. I think for Spurs now, it's about building on this trophy win, and I think I'm not the only one who felt that this match was really, really underwhelming. Again, guys, there will be names and profiles and such shown on screen. I must ask once again, please respect the opinions of others. We're here to learn from one another and to just enjoy the sport as a whole. Anything that somebody says online is not a personal attack to you, so it does not give you the right to harass anybody online or in person. And let's just keep it cool, calm, and collected when we're watching videos on this channel. So first person here says, Tottenham has beaten Man U this season, home, away, abroad. Yes, they've been really, really good. Manchester United have been dreadful a lot of the time this season, but particularly against Spurs. They've really, really suffered this season. And I think it's really just down to, again, the Manchester United team not knowing what to do when it comes to attacking. Maybe the tactics are off, or maybe just the players don't understand what it is that Amorim wants from them. But they're constantly caught out of possession and then they're whacked with their own kind of counter-attacking tactics. Somebody else here says, lost the Europa League to Spurs, no Champions League football, will miss out on potential targets, 16th in the league, lots of deadwood in the team. Where do United go from here? Maybe home. This actually, I think, really puts into perspective all of the problems that this loss is now going to create for Manchester United. Yes, you've lost in a final. Getting to the final would have been great if you weren't in the situation that you were in the league. That 16th in the league is dreadful. It means even from the Premier League, they're not going to get much income based on their final standings. But I do think there are some players that really need to be let go. Again, not because they are bad players, but because they just don't fit into the system. Somebody says, when it came to the crunch, he failed miserably. It's time to say goodbye, Amorim. No tactics but get the ball in the middle. No striker there, but over and over again, time after time, they play the same tactic. He can't manage a game. He made changes to the team when it's too late to make a difference. It was the perfect place to show off his skills of team management. He hasn't got a clue. It's for him to move on and leave now. He has made the team a laughingstock. Okay, I do understand why this person is so upset. I think you have every right to feel that way. But I think it's important to remember that Manchester United have been a laughingstock for the last few seasons, actually. All of this now means that Ruben Amorim has a really big problem that he needs to fix. He needs to find a way to now put his own identity on this Manchester United team that is, it still looks like a mosaic of previous managers' ideas and thoughts, and you can see that at Manchester United, all the players are not on the same page. Something is really wrong there. But I think even the tactics that Amorim has employed sometimes this season have been really questionable. I genuinely expected to see Bruno Fernandes playing more of an attacking midfield role, in that number 10 role, maybe with a strike duo up front. But I also expected to see that double pivot in midfield of Ugarte and Casemiro, because I think that gives you that stability, that aggression, that solidity in the heart of the pitch. And I think with Bruno Fernandes put deeper alongside Casemiro, it sort of did him a great disservice because he wasn't able to get on the ball as much as he should have been. And it really showed. Manchester United had just not found any real threat in that game. There was a point where Spurs had to get a goal line clearance, but I think even then, Manchester United should be doing so much better against the Spurs team that really hasn't had much practice with the defense playing together consistently. But it looked here more like Spurs had learned how to do that, and Manchester United hadn't even thought of it. Somebody else here says the coach was so gullible in the selection tonight. He subbed too late into the second half. What sort of stupid game plan was that, playing Bruno deep? What happened to Ugarte and Casemiro pairing up and allowing Bruno to be free? In a nutshell, this coach can't lead Man United to success. How can a coach play up to 28 games and lost almost all of them? Good results are the reflection of a good coach. Again, I don't blame this person because I just said this now as well. Bruno Fernandes playing in too deep, Casemiro and Ugarte being that proper double pivot in midfield but not even being used. And again, like, nobody seems to know what Amorim wants from this team. Not the players, not the fans, absolutely nobody. This was, however, as this person says, the most boring final ever. Well, what do you expect from two useless teams just above the relegation zone? Many congrats, Spurs. Yes, fair enough, the person does have a Liverpool profile picture, but I don't think they've said anything wrong here. This was the most boring final ever. I really thought that going into this match, because both of these teams knew that the entire season hinged on their performance in this game and the outcome, we would have seen like the best of these players, because they would know we're not just fighting for this season, we're fighting for opportunity next season. And they didn't do that. It was really just such a poor performance from both of these teams, and it does make me really sad to say this, but I'm really just glad that this match is over and that this final has been decided, and I don't have to watch Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur for the rest of the season, because my goodness, these two teams have been terrible, and I think everybody is just tired of them.